And it is. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglash for the WDMA. We're going to be talking about direct mail design and creative today. So before we get on to that, let's get on to Heinz and soil sustainability, which matters to all of us. Okay, so Fortnite. Heinz is building a Fortnite island. The tomatoes need your help. You gotta run around and get sustainable farming practices before the soil falls apart. Apparently, I'm not quite sure how this works. I've never played Fortnite before, but anyway, that's what's going on. A fast experience. And it's supposed to illustrate, well, we'll get to the article, right? We'll get over to the article. And that's the way we do it. Heinz builds shrinking island on Fortnite, which highlights soil degradation by Steve Ellwanger. Okay. And so there's this island, and they're growing tomatoes, and they want to emphasize the role that healthy soil plays in the global food system. And what I like about this, of course, is it's not all about climate change. It's about something that really can be tangibly fixed. I watched a series of videos about a farmer, I believe in Nebraska, who had kind of inherited a farm from his in-laws, and he said he wished he would have shown the soil, but it just looked like sand. It looked like just dust. And his in-laws had used, the traditional meaning they did what everybody else was doing, putting lots of fertilizer on the soil, plowing it up, just growing crops after, planting after the last frost, and stopping before the first frost in the fall. And he said, and so then the first year there was terrible drought. I think the second year maybe there was terrible drought. The third year there was a hailstorm that destroyed everything. And by the fourth year, he didn't know what to do, and they couldn't fertilize. They were, the crops were kind of coming up on their own, so they fed that to the cows and the cattle. And he tells a story about how without major fertilization, he learned about cover crops. He learned that for every inch of root system, there's another 2 inches of biome below that unlocks the minerals in the soil below and feeds the plant, and the plant sends down CO2 and nitrogen often, and feeds that biomass down below the soil. If you plow it up, it destroys all that. And so he learned that you could protect the soil. You could actually recover the soil. And after years of doing this, the earthworms came back, the insects came back, the songbirds came back, and his farm became much more productive. And oh, by the way, because my wife was reading in a health magazine last night about how we should get rid of all the cattle because they're too expensive to raise, and that's not the truth in. Hey, Vinny, good to see you. It's not the truth. You need the cattle. They restore the soil in a way that the plants can't on their own. It all works together in nature, and that's the way it is. So thank you for Heinz. Thank you, Heinz, for that. Heinz illustrates the crop rotation and cover cropping instead of deep plowing that we were told was so important. And so that was great. Okay. Direct mail breakthrough in an online world. Creative direct mail group, that's Craig Huey's group, says direct mail in an online world is powerful because it works, right? Excuse me, I got the egg problem again. If I get here a little too late, I don't get everything done. Well, I never get everything just quite right. Okay, techniques that separate the winners from the losers. A powerful envelope. Creating curiosity, so you open it. The salutation, and what is the PS? What's in the letter? Why do they need to respond? Now. And how do you respond? Is all that there? Just a few tips of things you can look for in your direct mail. Excellent. I would like it to be expanded on a bit because Craig oftentimes gives us real case studies. Okay, and this is by Stephanie Donaldson from Lob, from web page to real page. I like that part. Direct and digital best practices. Okay, and so 10 web page marketing best practices to bring your direct mail marketing strategy. Okay, so first she highlights Mint Mobile. And of course, you know that I'm a big fan of Mint Mobile. I don't know if they'll be any good now that they've been acquired. I'm going to put this tattoo on one of these days on one of these shows. Maybe if you, maybe we'll do it on a meetup. Don't forget, there's a meetup this afternoon. I think it's at 3 o'clock Central Time. And the info, I sent out another direct mail, another email this morning. So if you look in your spam filter, because it's got links in it, which, may be identified as that. We had a few people canceled, going to do things with their grandchildren or something. But I think we'll have a good group. We still have some heavy hitters that are on the docket. But whatever. And a lot of people that I haven't really met before. So, if you want to talk about your creative, you want to talk about, maybe you're thinking about getting into direct mail, this is a great way to do it. You'll have other people there. You'll have printers, you'll have direct marketers, and you can get some quick feedback. It's free. Just go to wdma.org and look for the little box that has kind of Easter colors. Click that, and it'll get you to all the information you need for the Zoom link and all that stuff. Okay, so here's a Mint offer, right? 3 months free. Free is always good. Always good to put in there. A nice big free. $15. Okay, somebody doesn't know that I'm not available. It's spammy risk again. I love that. We'll keep it handy. Okay, $15. Always good to have a dollar amount visible. And I think it could have been bigger, $15 per month, and we'll talk about that in a minute. You see that? It's hard to see probably on your screen. It's hard to see on my screen what that $15 means. Create attention-grabbing headlines. 3 months free. Really well done. Okay, best offer of the year. That's up above here. Not good. Reverse type. Hard to read. The squint test, which is below down. Fail. Total fail. But anyway, it's there. Try bill pay. Oh, here's the next one. Okay, develop action-oriented CTAs. Calls to, which, I hate when they just say that because I have to go look it up. Call to action. Well, I didn't have to look this one up, but you might have. And so we always try to get rid of acronyms, right, Vinny? If we can get rid of them ASAP. SOS. Anyway, so Stephanie says that this is a good mail piece because it says try bill pay, get $10 cash back, and it's time to take the plunge. And she says, Salient has a great call to action on this direct mail campaign. Try bill pay. It's simple and straightforward and seems like an easy thing for the recipient to do. Just try it. And if you do, you can earn $10 cash back. Okay, again, good, solid dollar amount. So my question is, how? How do you start? Is there a URL? Is there a QR code? Is there a phone number? Right? Like Craig Huey said, there's nothing. I can't find anything in here of how to start. Nothing. Zero. We used to call that a response device, not a call to action. There may be a call to action, but there's no action you can take on this mailing piece. Now, maybe it's on the other side. Big mistake. Always put it on both sides, because somebody might photocopy it and say, hey, we should try this, or scan it and send it to you or something. There's no way to share it, and there's no way to start. Okay? Sorry, Stephanie, but I disagree with you on that point. Okay, Geico. And the point of this one is that your eye can move just like this, and your eye can move down through the letter. Bullet points is good, and move through this way over to the little Geico guy. I thought it was funny. Follow the format. She calls this a Z shape or F shaped layout. I would have liked a little more graphics. I put in graphics, but she could have put in some graphics about how that would have been the F-shaped layout for those of us who aren't professional designers in the 21st century. She also thought that was great personalization by including the university the recipient just graduated from. Well, Stephanie, the way this works is Geico offers this through an alumni association as a way to fundraise for the association. And that's how they work. So they always mention, they're done. Basically, the Alumni Association gives Geico the list, and it could be life insurance, and it could be car insurance or whatever it is. And so it's car insurance in this case. So the association gets a little spiff, and right, there's no PS. There is an 800 number, there is a URL, or call your local agent, and those are highlighted by me, not by them. Always good to put a little blue ink in there, put a little blue ink on the signature to call it out that this is personal to you. Anyway, so Wayfair uses pictures on their, and so that's use call-out boxes, but it's just pictures, really. It got covered up by the Lob ad in there. Coordinate your colors. And this is something you need to think about a little bit. One of the, not the first catalog I did, but one of the really the first one I was really in charge of, the designer put down a beige as the color, as the main background on the cover of the catalog. And beige is notoriously difficult to print because it's like a flesh tone. It's made up of a little red, a little green, even maybe I don't think not green. A little red, a little yellow, a little blue, and back in those days we were running it on some big presses on our Ardonley with our Ardonley Lakeshore plant. I remember, I'll never forget going down there at 2 a.m. and they told me, come around the corner, hit the horn hard, and don't stop. Apparently, it was a little bit of a high crime area at the time. But anyway, printing colors is not always the same as screen colors. So you're going to lay it out on the screen, but you're not going to necessarily print it on that. And so Stephanie says, black can denote luxury or sophistication, or green being fresh or natural. I don't know where those exactly came from. I don't know. Maybe she just made that up. True black can be tricky, especially if you use it in big areas. If you use black instead of white spaces. Also, she says you need to have white space. Make sure to leave breathing room. And I've worked on a lot of catalogs, and I've been able to increase the product density often. You have to be careful. You have to increase it with some hierarchy of design. But white space just rarely sells. And one of my other first assignments as a consultant was after the after the catalog, it was a business-to-business office products, computer supplies catalog. After it bombed, we took the 48 pages and basically boiled them down to 24 and added 24 more good pages. But I was in charge of smashing 2-page spreads down into 1 page. The owner of the company wanted to look like Land's End. It's tricky looking like Land's End, right? I'm a big fan of Land's End, though. And we might have Land's End here this afternoon. The last of our roundtables, we had Land's End, Colony, Silver Star, Amerimark, and is that it? Well, we had more than that, but those are like 4 of the top catalogs in the world. Anyway, create consistency. And again, if you have a specific PMS color, you may want to go to a 5-color press and put that color down as a separate color of ink. And if you're trying digital presses, that may be a challenge for you. I'm not sure. I know that digital presses do a great job of photographs and other things, but when you really want to get that PMS color right and it's a blend, you may want to be on an offset press with a 5th color. Also can work with black. We used to do black plate changes all the time for testing. So Stephanie mentions that this mailer used icons to show you to wear a mask. Although I'm not sure it really looks like a mask with a circle around it. So that's that. United Healthcare does a great job of using its brand colors on this mailer. Do a blur test. Now this is one I really like because this gets at the visual hierarchy. If you can't see a headline, like back to the Mint offer, you can see 3 months free, but you can't see our best offers of the year. Now if you squint, I'm getting better at squint because my eyes are bad. Much worse than they were in my 20s. Also, it gets at your visual hierarchy. But also step back from your piece. I see this in outdoor all the time when you know they're looking at it on a monitor this close, but they're not going 80 miles an hour by it, and they try to put way too much in there on billboards on the freeway. So the blur test, not only do you want to look at visual hierarchy, but you also want to think about, you want to try and think about it in the way of someone who's not familiar with your offer, someone who's not familiar with your company, and what do they think when they see your mailer? And a lot of times they don't think anything. They look at it in a split second. They look at the postal indicia, see that it's marketing mail, and that's it. Okay, so you really have to think about that. And one of my clients long ago said that I had the ability to think in the uncluttered mind of a child. Well, one way to do that is to just dial back your attention span to a half a second and see if you can get anything out of what you just laid out. Add tracking. Stephanie mentions UTM parameters, which I had to look up. That stands for Urchin Tracking Module Parameters, which are variants of a URL, which we've done for years. But this is one that Google picks up on. So there's ways to manipulate your URL so that Google can track it for you. Be careful because Google has a vested interest in not tracking direct mail very well. And you can use QR codes or personalized URLs. Or there's about 100 ways to track stuff. So if you don't know that, again, give us a call. Come to the meeting today, and we'll talk about it. It can vary depending on what you're trying to test. And finally, at the end, run A/B tests. Apparently, people do that often on landing pages. Because Stephanie, I was thinking, what? We weren't talking about landing pages. And then she says, do the same with direct mail. Create 2 versions of your direct mail campaign. Now, here's a tip for you. Scientific method. When you're designing an experiment, if you remember your sophomore year biology, when you're designing that experiment, what you want to do is you want to have a reason to test. You want to test, you say maybe that best of the year isn't visible to most people. So just make that bigger. Just make that one change. Make the free a little smaller, see what happens. There's a lot of ways you can test, a lot of subtle ways that can create 20, 30, 40% lift. You know, like the blue ink and the underlines in the where is that response device. You know, if it's in the body copy of the letter, that is not enough. Okay, I can tell you. That's my hypothesis for you. So get an old guy to look at your mailing piece, and then get a young person who knows about UTM parameters. I don't pretend to know that stuff. Okay, so that was good. Thank you, Stephanie, for that. Made us all think. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart.